While Sonic is primarily a console video game character, he has had his fair share of arcade games as well, actually dating all the way back to 1991. Yeah, the same year the first Sonic game came out. What's up, Danksters? Thanks for tuning in to a brand new video of mine, and I want you to join me today as we take a look at a variety of Sonic arcade machines. From being Japanese exclusive to international releases, and we're even going to dabble into some cancelled ones. So recently I have gone and looked at every single Sonic game on the Sega Genesis, so I've kinda have a hankering for Sonic at the moment. And not wanting to jump straight to another console era, I decided that I would just take a step back and look at a lot of the Sonic arcade games that we have out there, ranging from really well-known ones to more obscure ones that people don't really talk about. So with all of that said, why don't we just jump into it, no time to waste. Let's get started with the first game, that being Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. Being released in December of 1991, being so close to the first game's release I might add, Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car would only unfortunately be released in Japan. Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car is a short on-the-rails game where you help Sonic, who is a police officer in this game, navigate through traffic until you catch up with Dr. Robotnik. Once running into Robotnik, a battle will commence that will have him start throwing bombs at you that you will have to avoid. However, by looking at this footage, it looks like it's super easy to beat him. If you just keep tapping the jump button, Sonic will have no problem in attacking him. And once Dr. Robotnik goes down, the town is saved and the game ends on a rating system. As you can see, you can get up to 5 stars here depending on how well you did in the game. I guess we can kind of look at this as an early ranking system that the franchise would soon later adapt in later titles. The arcade machine has a wheel attached to it, and that's how you would actually move Sonic left and right, next to a button that you can see that has Sonic's face on it that would allow him to do the jump attack. Also, looking at the footage, you can see Sonic using his blinkers. I don't know if that's something you had to manually do on the arcade machine, but it is something that is shown here. Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car is actually a pretty short game as well, running somewhere around 4 to 5 minutes, so there's not really a whole lot to say about the game itself. Other than it looks amazing, of course, the sprite work is absolutely fantastic here, and the game looks really nice. And even if I can't understand it, it's still really neat to hear Sonic talking this early on in the franchise.
お前はソニック。俺の仕事は悪い奴を捕まえること。つまり、おまわりさんってわけさ。
The arcade machine is really nice looking as well. Having this white police car with Sonic on it doing his iconic pose with a police hat looks super striking. And a detail about the machine is that once you start playing it, the machine will rock back and forth side to side to give the player some motion. I imagine it's pretty effective at giving that feeling of driving, at least to a little kid anyway. Alright, so these next two that I'm about to talk about came out the same year and in the same month. Both came out April of 1993. And while one of these 100% without a doubt is a full-fledged arcade game, the first one I'm going to talk about can be debated as such. But who cares? It's my video. We're going to talk about it regardless. And that arcade machine being Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop. Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a popcorn dispensary Sonic-themed arcade machine. Now there is a small game on here, of course. The machine has a crank on it that you would have to spin in order to help Sonic move. Dr. Robotnik is chasing Sonic down with a hammer to crush him, so you'll have to avoid that by spinning the crank. It seems pretty easy to win, especially after watching this one guy crank the shit out of the machine. Although it's really not about winning or losing at the end of the day, because you still get the popcorn either way. Tails delivers it to you in this really cute way that I like, where he runs off to the door to drop off the popcorn and quickly comes back before you can grab it. It's really cool. But if you didn't want to use the crank, Sonic will just jump out of the way every time Robotnik swings his hammer anyway, so you can't really lose here. But speaking of Robotnik, I really like his running animation here. It just looks so goofy. I love it. And when Sonic is sliding down here, it kinda sounds like Billy Hatcher. You guys hear this as well? Going to the machine though, it looks super nice, giving off fair vibes. But of course the main attraction is the Sonic and Tails on top. While Tails looks nice here, having him present the logo, it's Sonic over here that steals the show completely, being a full 3D statue of Sonic on the side holding the popcorn container. It's actually really cool looking. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the popcorn machine, but the next game we're going to be looking at is Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter Galaxy Patrol. The name just rolls right off the tongue. Now this game right here is more of what you would expect out of an arcade game. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's a lot like Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car, except instead of Sonic being a police officer, he's now a Cosmo fighter, I guess. Well, we have another on-the-rail shooter here in the style of a shoot-'em-up this time. And wow, I thought I'd have much more to say about the gameplay, but that's pretty much all that's here. It's just a Sonic-themed style shoot-'em-up. And if you know how shoot-'em-ups play, then you're gonna know exactly how this one plays as well. The game is pretty much the exact same thing as Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. You play as Sonic and you have to go all the way up to the end until you defeat Dr. Robotnik, which in this game he starts out in his normal machine, but then later on gets a fucking dragon suit to fight Sonic. I would say more about this dragon suit if it didn't last 30 seconds of the game, because he's a complete pushover, no threat at all. Seriously, just keep spamming the shoot button and he goes down. Like, what even is this? Another thing like Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car, after defeating Robotnik, a ranking system once again shows up, just letting you know on how you did out of 5 stars. The machine looks nice as well. It looks like they're trying to mimic the ship that Sonic is riding in the game, but the only problem is that his is red and all the machines I've seen are white, so there is a little inconsistency there. But it still looks amazing and nails the spaceship vibes. I do like how there is Art of Sonic on the side of the machine, so it's super easy to pick out in a crowd. And the graphics, of course, look really nice in this game. They're big and well animated. My only problem with the last 3 arcade games that we looked at is that their runtime is really short, all lasting somewhere between 2 to 4 minutes. Not something you would typically think of an arcade experience, and not something you would typically want to spend your money on. But I'm not sure how arcade culture was in the early days. I'm not sure if this was the thing. I mean, sure, there are a ton of arcade machines now that you just put a coin in and you get something for it. There's not really a game, but for 1991 to 1993, I really thought more substance was in these arcade games. But not to say that these arcade games don't give enough, these games give plenty. In fact, if I did find one of these machines and play them, that would be all the experience I would really need. I'm not really asking for something that's like 15 minutes. But I don't think I'll ever get a chance to play these because all 3 of these machines are exclusive to Japan. So unless someone gets their ass on importing these machines over here that I just so happen to find, I'm not likely to play any of them. But as we go forward into this video, we are now going to look at some machines that are a lot more well known than the last 3 we just covered. I'm sure the last 3 arcade games we talked about has their fans, but these next ones we're going to talk about actually got some international releases, so it's a lot more well known in the community. And the first one we've almost gotten internationally a couple times, but just for some reason it never happened and was canceled every time. And that game being Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. And Sega Sonic the Hedgehog is by far the most interesting game we have talked about, at least compared to the last 3. Released in June of 1993, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog would be an isometric platformer that gives off a 3D perspective. The game is controlled with a trackball, which unfortunately I don't have, so emulating this wasn't the easiest task, but unlike the others, I was at least able to play this one, so there is that. And despite my control problems, the game is pretty fun. You can play as 3 characters here: Sonic, and at the time of this game's release, newcomers Mighty and Ray. I played as Sonic though, because of course I did, why wouldn't I? But it is cool that Mighty and Ray are playable here. And as soon as you start, you are immediately thrown in, and from this point, it's just go, go, go. It's a very fast-paced game that keeps you on your toes, thanks to the fact that the level is collapsing constantly behind you, so it likes to keep you moving. Which does make sense, as it's designed to be a quarter muncher, like a lot of other arcade games were at the time. However, despite that, this game is just pure fun. You have 7 levels to get through, each with their own gimmicks, but mainly all play the same. The animation is unreal here. Even playing it today in the year 2026, I'm still impressed by the sprite scaling this game does. But also seeing Sonic move around is just really mesmerizing too. The animation is just so damn fluid, it's really nice. This is a Japanese game, but the localization story is just super fascinating to me. Well, to start, we were actually going to get an English translation of this game where they would take the Sonic Saturn Robotnik design and replace that over the Japanese one. And we know this because those sprites have actually leaked onto the internet so we can see what it is. I'm not sure why it got canceled, but it seems like a very last minute decision. And I'm still not sure why people haven't modded that Robotnik into the game or made an English translation of it. At least to my knowledge, it doesn't exist. So while the initial translation fell through, there was hope again to get Sega Sonic the Hedgehog over here. The most famous tale is that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog was supposed to be included in Sonic Jim's collection. However, they just couldn't find a way to emulate the trackball properly with the GameCube controller. Yeah, well, join the club. I couldn't properly emulate it either, but it didn't stop me from playing it, now did it, Sega? So I'm sure a lot of us would have been willingly ignorant to just allow a clunky port to come onto the Jim's collection. It is just a shame because I do think that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog does deserve a spot on Sonic Jim's collection, a collection that didn't really have much to offer, except for the next game we will look at, which did make it to Sonic Jim's collection, that being Sonic Championship, or better known as Sonic the Fighters, an arcade fighting game with a Sonic theme to it. This is actually running off the Fighting Vipers engine, and it looks pretty solid here. Now, Sonic the Fighters did have an international release, but it was super limited over here in the States. But the point is, it did come over to the States. Unlike Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, which people do claim they did play it over here, but that's because people imported Japanese cabinets. There was never an official English version of Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. Not the case with Sonic the Fighters, though. Now, if you're playing this game today, you're most likely not even playing it on an arcade game. You're most likely playing it on the Sonic Gems collection, like I did for this video, or the Xbox Live PSN ports that people mostly know nowadays. The game itself is pretty fun. It's a simple fighter that doesn't have a lot of depth to it. Although it is kind of funny that this is the only Sonic game to have 8 Chaos Emeralds to it, so that's something. But yeah, not much to say here other than the music's pretty great. I mean, Sonic the Fighters is no hidden gem. Everyone should know what Sonic the Fighters is. I'm only bringing it up just to make this list a little bit more complete. But I love Sonic the Fighters. I have a lot of memories with it. I played it a lot on the Xbox 360. And every now and then I do find myself coming back to it. It's just fun to beat the shit out of your friends as Sonic characters. Although if there is something I did want to touch on real quick is that the sound effects for the punching is so cathartic. It's just so satisfying to land hits in this game. Alright, so next up we have another arcade game that can be classified as not a game, but it is at the same time. This right here is Sonic and Tails Spinner, and it was released sometime in 2002. So pretty much what this is once you insert a quarter, or 2 in my case, Sonic and Tails will start spinning. Stopping Sonic will land on a number, while stopping Tails will land on a multiplier. And pretty much you just rank up tickets from this, and I have to say, I am a god at this game. Every time I play, I am mostly landing on the 70 to 80 tickets, ranking up to like 500 by the end of my session. Sorry to brag. The machine is really nice looking as well, using a lot of the Sonic Adventure art, due to that being the Sonic at the time. There are also Sonic variants of this as well, dropping Tails from the title and just calling it Sonic Spinner. And with how this game is played, it kinda reminds me of another obscure Sonic arcade machine known as Sonic Redemption. Not a whole lot is known about Sonic Redemption, but what we do know is that you would put a coin in and get tickets based on where the coin fell. Also, Sonic has blue arms on the machine, which is also the most notable thing about Sonic Redemption. Well, anyway, looking at this machine and all of its art, it's just really nice to see in 2026 as someone who misses that era very much. And as long as my arcade keeps the Sonic Tails Spinner in it, I will go back in every time and play it. Every time. Alright, so these next few arcade games we are going to look at in sort of a lightning round type of way, due to the fact that I really don't have a lot to say about them, or they're pretty self-explanatory. Starting with Sega Sonic Bros, which is a cancelled puzzle game from around 1992. The game looks decent, I suppose. Perhaps if you like Tetris or Columns, then it's right up your alley. And even though I said it was cancelled, a ROM of this game has leaked on the internet. So if you want to play it and you have to have it, the option option is there. To me personally, the most notable thing about the game is that there is a red Sonic and a yellow Sonic. Next up would be Sega Sonic Cotton Candy Scramble, which has next to no knowledge on it. All I know from what I could find about this machine was it was supposed to come out in 1994, but was cancelled for some reason. It would be exactly like the Popcorn Shop game, except this one would dispense cotton candy. This machine has a whole plane vibe to it, and by looking at the photo that I have here, it looked like the game would have been about flying as well. Too bad not much is known about this machine. Next up is Sonic Athletics, which is a game where people would run on a treadmill in order to control their characters. Each treadmill is dedicated to a select character, so that's how you would actually pick who you want it to be. And that's about it. Only other thing to note here is that every character model here are ripped straight from the Olympic Games series. So the next two games we will be looking at are a little unique because these games are actually pre-existing games that got turned into arcade games. That being Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and funny enough, Sonic Dash. I mean, both of these make sense. All-Stars Racing is a perfect fit for those racing arcade games. And with Sonic Dash being an endless runner, it opens itself up to being a quarter muncher, of course. So both of these being incorporated into arcade machines definitely make a lot of sense. Personally, I have never seen these ones, but I could get behind a Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing machine. That looks super fun. Well, after that, that is pretty much going to be it for me. Now, it would be impossible to cover every single Sonic arcade game. There are some all around the world that are not well known or not documented as much, so to get every little single one would be quite the chore, honestly, and I don't think I could do it. So what I did was just gathered a nice variety of Sonic arcade machines and decided to talk about those. Now, I know I could have probably went a little deeper into this topic. In fact, I know I left some games out, like the Sonic 1 and 2 arcade machine ports. During the 90s, Sega would make it a habit of turning Sega Genesis games into arcade games, and Sonic 1 and 2 were some of those titles. All of this was thanks due to Sega's Mega Tech and Mega Play systems, which were kind of like Sega Genesis arcade machines. Both of them have very minor differences than their console counterparts, so I didn't really find it necessary to bring them up. But Danksters, that is going to do it for me. What did you guys think of the Sonic arcade games? Have you guys played any? What are some of your favorites? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll get to you when I get to you. All my socials are in the description down below, as well as my Patreon and my Discord. You can feel free to join those if you want, completely up to you. The Discord if you want to continue the conversation, and the Patreon/memberships, I have those open now, if you want to support the channel. I do plan to upload some membership content to this channel, as well as some Patreon content, so if you don't want to miss out on any of that, it's only $1 to get access. But if there is something I can get you to do, can I get you to hit that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications, because I wouldn't want you to miss a single upload of mine, and it would take like 2 seconds, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you are watching this on a phone, please make sure to hit that hype button. What the hype button does is just push my video out further into the algorithm, so if you're interested in helping me in that way, that'll be greatly appreciated, and I thank you. Well, Danksters, that's going to be it for me. Another Sonic video in the bag, and going forward, I plan to make more Sonic videos, so if this is something you want to see, definitely be sure to stay tuned. But just remember, Danksters, you're not going to get this kind of content anywhere else, and you want to know why? Because that's the Dankers difference.